Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Classes In. I'm your teacher, Kyle Manfrey. Boy, we got another good one for y'all today. Sorry I was late. I couldn't find my wristwatch anywhere. Anyways, thanks for joining us. This is our third course, so hopefully you're caught up and you've seen our previous two courses by now. So today we're going to be going over, as previously mentioned in the second course, or prior course, we're going to be going over your log lines. Your log lines should be good, and pretty bulked up from your page breaks that we discussed in the prior couple of classes and courses online here as well. Welcome back to Classes In. Thank you for watching. We're here to teach you how to write your own pitch-perfect Hollywood screenplay. We're going to teach you for free. I mean, completely free. It's like a nuts idea, but why not? I've been doing this, for close to 30 years now. I just turned 44, hence a little delay in production. So typically this is going to air every Monday, or as close to that as we can get. So this is going to be our Memorial Day weekend remembrance of those who served and passed for our great country, America, and and shout out to all the other countries that may be watching as well. This is Classes In, Memorial Day special. I'm an American. I'm proud to be as such, so that's what it is. If you don't like that, bye. But if you do like it, just keep watching. So you'll see your log line here. This is basically what your average log line is going to kind of look like. So because you did your page break outline, you can see that this is the meat and bones. This is laying out exactly what happens in your movie. That's what the log line is. It's just a 2 to 3 page summary of what happens throughout your film. Now, you can do this in either MS Word, whatever kind of writing software you really want to use, because all you're doing is really just writing a couple pages about what your film is about. And yeah, you will give up your spoilers, you'll give up your plot, you'll give up your theme, you'll give up your everything. You don't hide anything from the reader ever when you're writing a screenplay. So remember that. Never hide anything from your reader. So you're expecting Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg or whoever to read your screenplay. Just an executive, Netflix, anyone, right? And you're hoping that when they read it, it actually makes sense. You're trying to make your own film and get producers, maybe? You want them to read it, it's the same thing. And you want to draw them in just like a viewer would be drawn in. But you've got to do it with only your words. So this is a very delicate, very, very thinly, knit kind of tightrope walk act that you're going to be doing. And you can fall without a net, or you can keep watching this video. And if you do fall, we'll land you in the net. We'll climb you back over the ladder. We'll get you back up there, and you can cross back over. We will be your net. And then we'll just take it from there. You can always leave any questions that you have in the comments section below, and I will get back to you. I promise. I will do my best. This isn't in the world, and if I don't, that just means it's a busy week, but I will eventually, and usually it's going to be the same day, okay? So thanks for watching Classes In. Let's get to it. A lot of it today is going to be on the screen. It kind of always is that way, but today especially. So here we're going to do an introduction of sorts. We're going to show you right here next to me just a basic screenplay, one of mine. So about as basic as it gets. Self-deprecation humor jokes will get you absolutely everywhere in this life. So you just kind of want to line up your focus here now that you're on your actual screenplay. I'll be showing my laptop, so consider me on my laptop. I have it out here. I'm going to bust it open under the canopy, and it will appear here, the image, okay? So I can see it, and I have a screen up here to also view it, so I can see it at all times everywhere I look, basically. So now you should have your laptop or workstation, whatever you're using, PC, whatever it may be, get it ready to start writing with your Final Draft 8 and get on there. And you can see you've probably already messed with it a little bit, and hopefully you've gone through the tutorials that, are easily readily available at the top in the gray bar up there. But if not, you can look at things. I would advise making a screenplay, call it sample or test or something like that. And if you, and write a short, really 3-page, just nonsense. It doesn't really need to make sense. And then don't make it too crazy, but just something short, whatever happened to you at the grocery store earlier, whatever, something you really don't give a crap about, really. And then just use the features. That way it'll give you a guide of what you can and can't do and can and can't change without having to risk losing your work. You can also take your work, for example, and rename the file so that you have 2 versions of it. One might be call it my screenplay number 1, and one might be called my screenplay number 2, just in case, kind of thing. And that part can be, there or not, however you want to do it. But you get it lined up, and you'll notice that your action lines, they're basically just sentences that are spaced like on any normal type of a document. You'll see that your character name is centered, and it's all in caps. Now that's interesting because we want that. We want the dialogue. You'll also notice, and when if you're using Final Draft 8, got to harp on that one again. If you're using Final Draft 8, you will see exactly what I'm talking about right now on the page. So after you write a character's name, let's say it's Phil, Phil, and then you hit enter, it's going to center that up just beneath the dialogue being that Phil's about to say underneath his name. So his name will be right above it and in the center of the amount of dialogue, like you can see here. You don't want that dialogue to be too long, even if it's a speech, even if it's a long good speech, an important speech, and crucial speech in a movie. They're going to break it up by, maybe it shows his wife shedding a tear, or maybe it shows her son standing up and raising his hand proud of his mom, or whatever it may be. Maybe it shows it right here, but when it shows it, remember, once again, it's going to be your words that are showing it very descriptively. So you want to use description words, but you want to do it without what they call over-directing your screenplay. So you don't want your screenplay basically, when the big production agency is reading it and thinking of making it, and maybe they want to direct it themselves, they just kind of want your story, and then you want you to work with them to change whatever it is. So if you're really married to it, like a passion project, you might want to hang on to that as a spec script, which means you can speculate to sell it as is, or you can speculate, to make it yourself and plan accordingly and budget accordingly, and take some Dove Sims seminars like I have done on production, lovely courses. That's another route you can go. But when you're showing everyone your story, and you're giving every character a different voice, like you actually have to, and when you're actually applying these things, you really, really, really have to be choosy with your words. I can't stress it enough, because someone's not going to read it. That interested party that wanted to buy your movie is going to put it down if every character sounds exactly the same. Like, hey, my name's Jim. Okay, let's say there's Jim and Bobby. And the only difference is you decided to give Jim an American accent, maybe like mine, a California accent, and you decided to give Bobby, maybe like New York. Bobby's New York. So, you think just because Bobby sometimes says not for nothing, you know what I mean, Jimmy? That Jimmy is going to sound completely different from Bobby being like, yeah, man, I feel you, bro. Totally, dog. But, so you got to make sure that actually when you went into your spider tree, when you did your character outlines that we talked about last week, when you went over that, or last course, when you went over all that and you applied it and you've been applying it, it's okay if you've already done it. Don't be upset or like, damn you, Kyle, for especially not the damn you, Kyle, yeah, for maybe making all of your characters sound the same. You can still change what they're saying without changing the story, or without even changing the general message of what they're trying to get, their point that they're trying to get across. You can change the way they sound. You want to realize, where did the person grow up, your character? Where are they from? Do they have an accent? This is what the spider tree is there to flush out. So hopefully you watched episode 2. If not, go back and watch it. This is all in one playlist. Also, I'll put a link down there at the bottom or 2 for y'all. So now you have your final draft data up here. You're noticing that your action lines, they're centered. They just kind of regular format. And then you don't want those to be very long, however. Those you want to break up with dialogue, like I was about to give a big speech, you want to break that up with action lines. The action lines are the full center that we just talked about, lines that are in between, characters' names, and the dialogue. Also, every time, hopefully you got that part, but every time you introduce a character for the first time in a screenplay, you're going to put the name in all caps. First and last, if they have a last name, the full name in capital letters, okay? Every time you introduce a new character in a script, okay? Caps, even if it's a dog. I'm serious. It's all caps. The first time, and the first time only in the action lines I'm referring to. You just keep it low, just lowercase, capitalize the first letter after that like you would any other name, but initially it's got to be in bold, it's got to be in caps, rather not bold. It's got to be in all caps, okay? It's just industry rule. Basically, anytime a producer wants or has to hire somebody, even if it is a cat or something, or a bunny rabbit, they're going to want that in caps because they want to know how many people, animals, etc., that they're going to have to pay for. in order to get this production done. It's essentially how their minds are working as they're reading the screenplay, and hopefully you're getting greenlit. Also, let's not forget that blocking the dialogue, like I mentioned, blocking it's really important with those act breaks, even if it's, the wife crying or the son raising his hand kind of a thing, because you don't just want this big blob of dialogue. It looks really hideous on a screenplay, and that's another thing that's going to make your reader stop reading immediately. So that's important. Make sure and chop that dialogue. Remember when you chop that dialogue, you're going to use action lines, you know? So just like right there. So now you have an idea, you can just kind of change their voices up. There's a lot of ways to do it. You can think of somebody that you know and just write exactly how they sound. I've done that before. I've had ex-girlfriends where I've some of my spec scripts, right? They're pretty great. What I do is, what I've done, because some of them I had for a while now, um, I would date these various women, right? And then read their text messages verbatim in my text messages. So my character that was based after me, right? It would be writing just exactly what it says in the messages. And then her character, I'd be typing that as well, but it'd be dialogue instead of text message. And with every different female too. And any buddies, texts, and stuff like that. It wasn't always what we were talking about, but some of the times it was exactly what we were talking about, word for word. And I just changed the names enough to make it legal. And it's funny because I've had women accuse me of it being about them, and it's completely not. It's about a completely other, different woman who probably won't even read any of my work ever, because a lot of these women out here in LA, they just don't even know how to read. No, I'm kidding. That was kind of a joke. I'm from here, so I can make fun, but there's a lot of transplants that give us a bad name, believe it or not, through time. It's not just Angelinos that are born here. Well, that's a big part of the problem too, I guess, isn't it? Lovely humanity, but we can write about it. See, we can make it serious, we can make it educational, we can make it funny, and we can make it anything that we want it to be. But we're using our words. We're not using our own eyes, our voices, our faces. I mean, you might star in your own movie one day, hoorah, right? But for the screenwriting process, you're only using your words. So you can see here now, and also you can see you get a good draw. Let me show you. You already know that you get a good draw on your log line from the page break outline. You essentially just pulled some pages out. And now you have your log line. You just structure the paragraphs properly, and good for you. And, you reworded it a little bit. So you're good on the log line now. You're good in your story. You're hopefully doing tutorials on Final Draft 8 and learning more about the software itself. It can be a little tricky. It does over edit, so it turns a lot of words red. But if you click on that, you can just hit ignore if it's like some word that maybe you made up for your script, or just a word that there are words that certain softwares don't pick up on. Final Draft 8 is no exception. There's certain words it just doesn't know. They aren't in its vocabulary. So you can click on that and hit learn word. You can also hit ignore, and then it won't turn it red anymore when you do use that particular word, or if it's some kind of a name or whatever it may be that you've incorporated into your story. Story and the structure and the central theme and the narrative and your voice is all of those things, is not just in the dialogue of what the characters speak, although that should match in that same formula as well. And it should match perfectly, and it will. And you're going to find yourself writing this thing and going back when you read it, and maybe just being really proud, or maybe wanting to give up at some point. Just write for 15 minutes a day. This is a new rule, okay? It's not a new rule that I created, but for our courses, this is how, okay? The teacher, Mark Troy, I've mentioned before, one of my first writing mentors, but not my first. He was my first out of high school writing mentor, and he taught me in private course with other students or whatever. He taught me that you give it 15 minutes a day. Somebody asked, but I have kids and I have a full-time job. There are all these questions, and I was this kid that just got out of high school, so I didn't have that kind of stuff. I had a job, but I didn't have any kind of. Well, I still don't have kids, so maybe I'm just the same guy. So check it out. So, it's actually, sorry, my bad, kind of funny. So the instructor's name was Mark Troy, and he was I remember right out of high school, I was taking a little course on screenwriting, and among other areas of the field, But this one was screenwriting for sure. And the teacher, somebody had a question like, well, I have kids, or I have this, that, or a family, or this crazy busy schedule at work. How do I work on my screenplay every single day? Because Mark said, work on your screenplay every single day. Don't take even one day off. And some people were like, well, that's, excuse me, the teacher. And he'd be like, yeah, what? And they'd say, but the teacher, I don't have that kind of time in my schedule. And Mark would always say the same thing. He would say, look, just take 15 minutes a day and work on it. You can find 15 minutes. Anybody can. Okay? Just like you can find 15 cents in the couch cushions. You can find 15 minutes. Find that 15 minutes every day and write for 15 minutes. And sometimes it'll be longer that you write for. Sometimes it might be a little less, but at least you're getting behind the computer and writing every single day. And when you're a beginning writer, you don't want to take days off because that's exactly how you stop being a writer rather. If you stop writing, then you're no longer a writer by definition. So we're gonna teach you through this course how to keep motivated, and then we'll get you through different acts in upcoming courses. We'll get you through. And again, if questions in the comments section, happy to answer, and I can answer any question that you may have. Just please be kind and respectful. Obviously, I would imagine that of anybody, or I'll block and report you to the proper authority. But yeah, class is in. I'm hoping you all have done your homework. You have those spider tree outlines done from our first two courses, and you're all being good students. I even bought you a little extra time by being late to last week's course and missing it all together on Monday. But I'm only a few days late, and we might not do next Monday since Memorial Day, but we'll call this course 3. And this will give everybody time to catch up now that you do have Final Draft 8 and you're looking at it right now on your laptop. Catch up on your stories and really, really get the voices. Capture the voices of each character as you're going into them. Thank you, everyone, for watching another episode. Episode 3, Webisode 3, Course 3, classes in, and make sure you keep learning and keep writing and do that 15 minutes a day we talked about, and you're gonna dig this. And I got you in the comments section. Don't forget, just make sure you hit that subscribe, that like, that little notifications bell, comments, share, things like that. They help me out. I really do appreciate it. I mean, I'm giving you free writing courses. I'm not mad at it, but I'm not even monetized on here, so anything's appreciated to try to get me to that level. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, and happy writing. Thank you for watching. Class is in, brought to you by host Kyle Manfree. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notifications bell today.